Hello everybody, it's Donna. Welcome back to the playroom. Today I'm making some recipe cards that are hopefully going to go into a future recipe journal. I didn't really need a lot of them because I just want them to slide into pockets or whatever or envelopes or whatever in this journal. So I didn't need a whole bunch of them. I don't want to bulk it up because there'll be lots of writing spots for recipes. I have been wanting to make a recipe journal for years. I actually think I've started once or twice, and I also have several digitals for recipe journals. What I'm using today is a digital from Amanda over at Scrimpingmommy. She has a monthly membership, I guess, that I joined probably last summer, simply because I saw that she had created a bee themed journal, and I absolutely loved it and wanted to make a bee journal. I haven't made a bee journal yet, but when I saw this one, I knew I wanted to do something. I know it's going to be a while before I finish any types of big projects because that's going to be, life update and a totally another video, but sometimes things are just really hectic. So let me show you her digital kit first, and then we'll get into making how I made these. Now these are both landscape and portrait. Today I'm only making them landscape because I actually wanted more like this than like this, even though this would work. I did use two other digitals in this kit. One was for tags. Not tags. What do you call those things? Labels. And one was this beautiful, what the artist calls boo-boo tape. But we'll get into that. I'll show you where I got that from later. This is Amanda's kit. I don't know how many pages, but it's quite big. I mean, her membership's only like, I don't know, Canadian. I think it came to like 5 something. I think she's over in the UK. This is printed on premium 32, I believe it is, paper. It's ordinary everyday printer paper, but it's a little bit thicker. The coloring is pretty nice. I did tell it to print as if it was on photo paper, and I find the coloring is quite bright. I'm going to have another video where I actually use the same kit to test my new printer that I bought. It's an Epson Echo Tank. I think the model is ET2800. I was so sick of running out of ink, and ink was so expensive that I knew I had to take the plunge if I wanted to print digitals like this off. So this I have printed a lot, and my ink levels have barely moved, so I'm very, very happy with it right now. Like, if on my old Canon, I would have already needed another set of ink cartridges. She has many pages for your journal in here. I'm not using those ones today. I am going to use a couple of the other ones. Can't remember which ones I printed out for the recipe cards this time, but lots of little fussy cuts. Now, if you notice, she actually has a little line around them all so that you can, easy to cut out, but also I have a scan and cut, and it cut those out beautifully. Background page. This one is one of my favorites. We are going to be using, I know, this one today. I just think that's, I don't know, it's spices. I love them. Okay, so this is kind of a quick overview. Hopefully I will remember to put at least a link to her YouTube channel. And then when you find her, you'll see a link to her. I think it's Ko-Fi that she sells her items on. Some envelopes. Some more fussy cuts and journaling cards or recipe cards. I'm not really sure what she meant those to be, but these are just adorable. More fussy cuts again. They have the little black line around them. Love the blueberries. And the blueberries with milk. These are ideas for book covers, and I guess for your label for the book plate, I guess. And this was, I don't know if she meant this to be the spine, I can't remember. She does have a video where she shows her kit, but I'm thinking that's what it is. But that is pretty cool. I don't know if you probably can't see that at all, but it's kind of leather looking. Okay, so that's her kit in its entirety. I'm not going to be using all of it, obviously, just for, I'm going to be making 5 cards, recipe cards. That way. So what I did was I reprinted the ones I wanted. Now this time for the fussy cuts, I printed them on presentation. This is the 2 papers I like. This is premium presentation paper matte, single-sided because it was cheaper, and I'm not going to normally use both sides anyways. It's 44 pound. It's not, they call it paper, but it's thicker than a paper. It's more of like a really light cardstock. That's why I like it for these fussy cuts. For the other pages for my, I would normally use premium 32, but I do believe for the what do you call it, for what we're doing for the recipe cards, maybe I didn't even print them out yet. Let me see. Oh yes, and she has some words, but I found the words really big, so I have actually printed 2 per page, and I will cut them out like that instead, because you notice my other cards didn't have any words on them. I just found them, they were too big. And that was just 2 extras. I guess I didn't print out the pages, or actually I think I've already cut them. I also made recipe cards that I'm going to attach, do the decorating on the back of. I just did this in Canva and printed them off. They're a little bit different than the ones I used for the other ones. I just wanted to make some adjustments, so I have 5 of them because we're going to be making 5. And there's a reason why you have to make 5 at a time. And then I have, hopefully I have what I'm using in here. I think I've already cut it out. I think that's why I didn't keep them full. Yes. So then I reprinted some on just normal printer paper. Normal everyday printer paper. I did tell the printer to print it as if it was on photo paper, and the colors are still quite vibrant on it. So I used 3 of the pages, and then I used a recipe as well as a piece of music sheet because I wanted some definition between what we're doing, which I'll tell you about in 1 second. The recipe, unfortunately, will go this way, and I'm going to have it this way. But when I was going to change it to a dictionary page, but I really, really wanted a recipe page from this old Good Housekeeping cookbook because it's so old and it's just beautiful that it just seemed appropriate to me. These are 4x6 because that's what the recipe pages are. And now you're probably wondering what the heck. I am going to step away in a second. I'm going to use my scanning cut to cut these out. I do have some already, but I don't think I will have enough. So if you notice on these cards, they all have little bits of the paper. So this is I'm going to get the name wrong, so people call it different things, but it's like whack-a-stack or stack-a-whack or something like that, where you take, I'm using 5, and you literally just put the 5 pieces of paper together, you rip it, but then you put them in different piles, so each one of your cards will have a different element on it. You usually see this a lot in tags. However, today I'm doing it in recipe cards. I did sew around them, I did ink them, I used the boo-boo tape, and I added just one of the fussy cuts. I did make some earlier where I put more on, but I would prefer not overloading the page too much. Okay, so that's that. Those are the pages I need. Okay, I'm just going to go away and fussy cut this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It is like 3 days later because that's about normal in my world. I have fussy cut out all these little die cuts, or whatever you want to call them, but I use my Scan and Cut, and I cut out beautifully. I also cut out the words that I had printed on 2 per page, and I just used my paper trimmer for what I could. Then I just used my scissors to snip them all apart. I have the recipe cards, and I have our 5 pieces of paper that I'm going to use to do this technique. Now I'm going to be gluing them onto the back because I want obviously want the recipe card showing. Now I did this on Canva. I think I already mentioned that before. If I can figure it out, I might put a link to the file if you ever wanted them. So what we're doing is, you can see it in here. We're doing what they call stack a whack or whack a stack, but whatever it is, you take. I'm doing 5 because it works out comfortably for me for what I wanted to do. So that means I'm going to get 5 bases. So I need 5 sheets of paper, and all those papers are going to be cut into at once into 5 pieces, so that you can put them on all the different pages, and yet every page will have one. I don't know, that probably didn't make any sense, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So I have my 5 pages. As I said, I have one, even though it's going the wrong way, for a recipe. I have a music sheet, and then I have 3 of these pieces that I cut from Amanda's digital. Now I just want to, and it probably doesn't matter that greatly, but I wanted something plainer in between some of the more livelier pages. So I'm just going to put these in between these. Now these I printed on normal printer paper with my new Epson Echo Tank, and they're all pretty much the same, what do you call it, like weight, I guess, because they're all pretty thin, so they should work out fine. Okay, now I'm going to be, all mine are going to be landscape, as I said before. Now I want to rip these into 5 pieces. So I'm going to do the first one kind of, not right across, but I mean, it doesn't really, it's not scientific. Okay, and so I still have this. Now this one, it's important that you rip them all together, obviously, because if you don't, they're all going to have different, cuts on them. You can't have that. So this one I'm going to cut or rip the other way. Okay, and then the middle one I'm just going to leave as one bigger piece. That's kind of cool because it's nice having the pot all together. And then this one I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to try to do in a different, maybe different angle, or just a different direction, I guess. So now this is what I have. Now I have to squish them all around to get them 5 different pages. So I have my 5 pages here. Now each one of these sections, I'm taking one section at a time because they're all the same, but I want one on each page, and we're just going to lay them out. Four and 5. And then I'm going to take the next one. Okay, that's going to go underneath here, but I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start here because I want a different, obviously, otherwise I'm just gluing the same pages on top of each other. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one's going to come back up and go there. Okay, now the middle one is my 3rd one, so I'm going to go here now. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can tell if you made a mistake because you will have 2 the same, and you don't want 2 the same. And now, so this one, that was number 3, so now I'm going to start with number 4. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and now I'm on my last one. So my last one's going to start down here. I wanted to put it there, but that's the same one, so I knew I made a mistake. So 1, and back up to the top, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now they all have different ones, and now I'm going to do them. I'm going to ink the edges, at least the inside edges that I wouldn't be able to ink if I did it afterwards. And I'll go and do that now. Okay, so I have one left. I have inked them all up, and I have one left to glue. I am just using art glitter glue. I know a lot of people that use glue sticks. I'm just not a big glue stick fan, but I am actually going to sew around the edges of these, just around the outside edge, mind you, so they'll be well secured. But art glitter glue is fine. My only problem with art glitter glue is it grabs the paper really fast, so you don't have a lot of wiggle room if you don't have it placed properly. Now when you're gluing these down, sometimes just because of the way it rips, like the layers or the fibers could rip slightly different for each type of paper you have. Sometimes you'll have space in between the pieces. I do occasionally, when I don't do these all the time, but when I do them, sometimes I'll actually print something on this so you have color rather than, or I just do it on a different color cardstock. Like you can see here, there's a little white line that doesn't bother me. I'm going to ink it a little bit so that you won't really see the white. And they're still going to be decorated after this, so they will be fine. Oops, wrong way. After I do this, I'm actually going to bring in my die cutting machine, because I'm not die cutting them, but I want to send them through just with a piece of paper wrapped around them, because I want them to be really flat. I know that sounds really weird, but it does make a huge difference in it, because now it's completely and absolutely flat. Kind of weird, I know, but that's just, I don't know, you can just tell the difference. I'm going to ink around the edges now that they're all glued down. And I will ink the cracks that are too wide. But that kind of fixes any like white that may be still showing from underneath. If I do have to trim any, and like right there's a little bit, I can just take a pair of scissors to that. Okay, now I'm just going to run them through my die cut machine, and they will be ready for sewing. I'm just going to make sure that the glue is completely dry before I run them through my sewing machine. So that'll probably be another 3 days before I come back downstairs. I do have to run an errand tonight, as usual. Now I'm just using the sandwich plate as if I was just going to die cut something. It didn't feel like there was all that much pressure, but you can really feel how smooth it is now, and I love that better. And even you can tell like this one's kind of warped, this one's a little bit more not so warped. The reason I am using a piece of paper is simply because I have really old marked up plates, and I just didn't want any of like the little cut lines or whatever to indent into my paper. So I'm hoping the plain typing paper will just prevent that from happening. Notice how I called it typing paper? I think I'm aging myself. That's that. Now I am going to let them dry, as I said, but I want to, sorry for my wheelie chair noise, I want to sew around them. Do I still have 5? Why does that one look like 4? Oh no, there's the 5th one. Okay. This is my sewing machine. I know it's not too exciting and you're not going to really see much, but I have it loaded with a dark brown. And yay, it's already threaded. But I'm going to just sew around them. I will start at one corner, sew around. Then I will pull the strings to the back side and tie them off, but that's all kind of boring stuff. And then we'll be back. Okay, here they all are with the stitching all the way around them. I did run them through my die cut machine again to make them flat, flatter. I want to do one more thing to the background before I add any embellishments, and that is I want to add just a little bit of splatter to it. And I'm using some Liquitex bronze. I actually wanted brown, but this is, I can find a brown, believe it or not, in my stash of paints and whatnot. So I'm going to be using the Liquitex bronze. I'm just going to water it down a little bit. I just don't want to go do it in front of that or above that. And I just have it on an old stamping block. Maybe if I put my glasses on, I can see better. Okay, so the splatters are done. They should be almost dry now. My brush is nice and clean for next time. Now I want to put on, I just want to put one focal image on them. I don't want to do a collage of them. I also want to put labels. So this was a digital, I can't remember which digital, but there's so many on Etsy that you can get. But some of these I printed on sticker paper. And maybe some of them I didn't, I'm not sure. I wanted a red one. I think I don't want blue. Maybe another green one. Okay, that should do. I have IKEA, those Alex drawers, and I have made up these little boxes. And I have the drawers full of these little boxes where I keep things that I'm using all the time, or my hopes are that I want it close. I used to have other drawers and that, but this seems to be working for me. Please apologize. I apologize for the furnace coming on, but now we'll pick out a main piece. Okay, so I turned the camera off because my furnace came on, and I didn't feel like doing a voiceover for this part, so I picked out what I wanted for each of the focal points, I guess. I picked out the labels I wanted. I did end up inking everything, including the focal point, which I didn't do on the first ones because I wanted the image to stand a little bit further out from the background, but I think this way is just as good, or will be fine. Then I picked out the words, and I did ink around the words just to get rid of any white spots that I might miss. Now, I want to add, this is the boo-boo tape that I was talking about. If I have, hold on a second. If I have my original, I'll show you what they come. I printed this off for somebody else, but I printed out an extra set. It's a digital download. You print it onto, I just had different kind of paper for that one. Like translucent, like this one was, I know was just the shipping label, but it was translucent, so you write like a big address on there and stick it on your box. I think these were just translucent paper. So when you cut them out, it looks like actual old cello tape, like Scotch tape, but really old. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I bought the digital download, printed off a set. There's a page of, or a set of 6. So there's 2 designs, but 3 different colors. Like there's a goldy, reddy type. This is gold, this is red, and then like kind of a greenish color. But you will see it makes it, I just thought it was an awesome idea that she did. And that was from, Margaret from Seven Plaza. If I remember, I will put her, I'll link her YouTube channel, but you will see her using this quite a bit. So what I liked about it is I didn't have to cut right up to the edge because it is translucent. But I do want to add just a little bit, but I want to know where my focal point was going to be with it, so then I can put it behind or put it off to the side, or wherever I want it. And I want to put it down before I actually glue everything else down. So I'm just going to pick a couple of them. And I peel off the backing. Okay, I have to get my glasses on. I can't see. See, so it now looks like that. And I just think it's such an awesome element to the different pages if you're trying to make it look vintage or whatever. I'm only going to add one piece to every one of these. I think I'll just add this one. And I do want it shown, so I don't care if it's underneath, but I do want... Actually, I think I'm going to add another piece here to this one. Once I have this down, I will just glue everything down. And that would be pretty much it. The project will be almost done. It really doesn't take that long. Just took me a long time because I have to keep starting and stopping. Because, you know, life gets in the way. Okay, I finished decorating them, put the words on. They look great, except that I forgot one little thing that I added on the original ones that didn't put on. Oh, I forgot. This is, what do you call this stuff? Drywall tape. It's the mesh kind. It has a little bit of a sticky back now. For me, I wasn't worried. It wasn't sticky enough to really stick. But once I put something on top of it and glued it down, I knew it was going to stay. It was supposed to go behind the focal image. And you can see in my original ones, it's there. Isn't it very subtle? As soon as I got the last one done, I remembered, and it was sitting right beside me. But that's okay. They'll still match all right. So these are the ones with the wording. Okay, so those are the ones that I did with you. These are the other ones. I did go back and add the extra words that I had cut out, the smaller. When I printed it 2 per page, it comes out smaller. So I'm quite happy with them. I think this is all I'll need for that particular book whenever I get around to working on it again. These ones I love with the little ladies on them. So that is it for this video. This video I have been filming for like probably a week and a half. So hopefully now it'll only take me another week and a half to edit it. And hopefully by then I'll be back into the swing of things and I'll have much more to put on my channel. Again, thank you all for sticking with me. And we will catch you very, very soon, I promise.